For that question, my response is that we have already gotten the low carbon alternative to decarbonize the global emission and also the Asian region as well. Asia is the fastest growing region in the world and it accounts for over 40% of global carbon dioxide emissions. It is a major contributor to the climate crisis, while at the same time has vulnerable countries that will be heavily affected by its effects. In a region with diverse cultures and economic development, China and Japan share common roots and are both experiencing significant economic growth. Both have declared the goal of carbon neutrality and are working to tackle the climate crisis. Nevertheless, Asian countries are still highly dependent on fossil fuel. For example, China and Japan combined accounted for over 30% of global emissions. And some countries' domestic policies are heavily rely on fossil fuels. And even in 2050, that they plan to continue to use the fossil fuels, that's through CCS and CCUS. For example, Japan, with an expected 19% of electricity supplied by coal-fired power generation in 2030. In terms of economic scale, China, Japan, Korea are relatively large countries located next to each other. The 4 countries of Japan, China, Korea, and Mongolia account for 76% of the electricity generated and 77% of the electricity consumed in the Asian region. If these countries were connected by power lines, a huge electricity market could be established. And this large market has to be decarbonized. An interconnected grid infrastructure unlocks the enormous potential of renewables. We have conducted a number of studies based on our proposal to connect the countries of Asia with the grid, but a most significant feature of Northeast Asia as a region for promoting interconnectors is its proximity of large demand centers. This does not necessarily have to be a plan to build a large transmission line. A first step would be to connect regions and borders so that they can be interconnected, as is currently the case in Europe. Asia's path will have a major impact on the global climate crisis challenge. Leading countries such as China, Japan, Korea, energy transition will contribute to Asia's energy transition as a whole. Together, Asian countries should take a giant step away from their own use of fossil fuels and towards an energy future based on 100% renewables.